Hi, I'm Mary, a librarian and book reviewer with a focus on stories written for kids, tweens, and teens. Today I get to share with you this book called Perchance to Dream, written by Tamara Belko. This is the story of a girl named Grace who has dealt with more grief and loss than most teenagers her age have ever experienced. She and her father have left their hometown for the next town over to try and start a new life, but both of them are suffering so much that they're turning to less ideal ways of coping with their pain, and that's halting them from being able to move forward. So both of them used to love music, and music was a way for them to really process their feelings. But in their grief and suffering, they've turned away from that and kind of lost their way. In school, Grace meets a boy named Xander who has likewise lost his own music, but for different reasons. And the two are drawn together through mutual understanding, and they start to kind of craft a life that brings music and joy back into their space. So this story is really an interesting examination of grief and loss, especially in the teen space, where you're managing not only those hard feelings, but also the transition from life as a child to life as an adult. And this is told from two perspectives. So it's told from Grace and Xander's perspectives. Grace appears as verse. So her pacing and tempo alters and changes depending on her feelings, which is really interesting. There are times when she's repeating phrases, when she's really kind of spiraling into a downward kind of depression feeling, and then other times where it's longer and more and closer to that traditional prose. But then when Xander speaks, he always starts with a quote that has to do with music. And then he has more of the traditional prose here. So that gives you a sense of more of what's going on in their lives than just the verse alone can do. So it's a nice balance. And it also gives you the chance to see Grace from her own perspective and her from Xander's perspective. So, everyone sees themselves differently from how other people see them. I will say there's a trigger warning in this book about self-mutilation. So just be aware of that if that is a thing that is sensitive to you. It is interesting to observe a character who's going through the struggles that have inspired her to behave that way, and then to observe her father doing similar self-destructive behavior at the same time. So this book is really thought-provoking, and it makes you consider exactly what might be going on in the lives of others that you may know or be around. And it also gives young adults the chance to connect with one another in a way that's deeper than some young adult novels get into. So if this sounds like a great fit for you, I hope you look for it at your favorite bookstore.